Once upon a time, in a little island, a pan was invented. Wash your hands, wash your hands, and remember to sanitize, because the whole world turning red. But not Nineveh. Trinidad and Tobago had to now promote every avenue of restraint and discipline. We get a neurological perspective on behavior where we could afford to stand up as a species and just present cleanliness and hygiene. And here what happening. You see with the racialism, octopus could change the color of the skin. We are 35% prefrontal cortex, so that do count. Today, the species have those who could say who could live and who could die. That what commerce do. That money. At the end of it all, we just come out of a celebration. Then here what happening. Now we had to be Nineveh. And every recommendation we had to embrace with alacrity and stand up as a nation and as a species. We were each home, even with an instrument. If we had a lockdown time, use it, learn a little instrument, learn a little, go out if we got the opportunity. We go in the backyard and we creating gardens. We need to get back to traditional eating. We need to have this opportunity at the 4 industrial hemp trees. I have one, and this is my tree because this is a story of Beauty and the Beast, right? This is a story where we were educated. You see the stigma, boy? Stigma is the most crude and cruel, achievement of marketing. That's what marketing is. Marketing is stigma. And the nastiness that they do to the human because of the fact that you could afford to decide who could live and who could die. That is what commerce brings. We at the stage which part profit cannot be the element of commerce. We are AI, we are artificial intelligence. 70 years ago, we see what the planet looked like. Today, we are all kind of satellites around this whole planet. So one thing we sure about is that we know what all you know. But all you know it and all is part of the species. So it's time the species of humanity step up. We will always have and had the opportunity to embrace hygiene over the use and throw away conditioning of the marketing that was done to us. Up to now, we see the big corporations pushing back on the behavior, supporting a change of behavior. Here we will come over this and you hear these fools don't start to talk about how much money a person can make after this whole scenario. That is not about humanity, it's not about that. Our education system, we understand the beauty and the advancement of artificial intelligence and we want to embrace it as a species. I cannot see how intellectuals can actually arrive at a position of a useless class when the human has 35% prefrontal cortex. How we arrive there with our best thinking is something wrong. Our objective as a species should be expanding. We today could even make our own planets and forget that. But the matrix will tell you then that those who may have to die inside of the whole scenario would know something that we would never know. Because while the rich could take all the money or the affluent or whoever it is to try to create sciences that would extend their life and things like that, is irrelevant because you're afraid to see what's on the other side when you wake up the next morning. I don't feel the idea of not having to have that experience, is something. But the point about having that experience is at the extent where we have extended a hand. So every individual could be awake. We have artificial intelligence today. We have neurology as a science. We have an objective reality before us as a species, intelligence. It's time as a species we embrace every opportunity outside of the bragging rights and the control and power. The most powerful but should be he who basically could afford to carry the whole species forward. This is not about nationalism or individualism, patriotism. This is about the species when we look back in 1970 and discover Earth and see then that it's a one entity. We are one species and we have the computing power to embrace hygiene as just a part of it. 6 feet away is basically enough to know then that no longer can you market your products with sexuality, right? And we're comfortable with 5G. I can't see privacy at all. I don't believe in that. I feel anything affecting one human being, affecting humanity at all, at large. So I for that kind of thinking, I stoic. I telling you in this little island, when you hear the foolishness because of the kind of clout, the global clout, we need to represent the species of humanity in its best representation, character and virtue. Virtue is sufficient. Virtue is sufficient. We don't need profit. We don't need DuPont producing more plastics. We don't need all the foolishness being manufactured. We saw that in 1970 when we saw the whole planet. Just have a different view than to just being able to capitalize and monopolize the opportunities of the sciences, for your own individual. If it ain't good for the hive, sir, it can't be good for the bee. So as a species, we ask of the question, when will politicians, have the integrity to stand and represent humanity and not a party? When will politicians be able to stand up and have the agenda, even by the permanent secretaries who really and truly just have to extend the global clout and the continuity? Because a politician could only be there for 5 years. But the people who carry in the story and the narrative is the permanent secretaries. Everybody know that. Right? So the idea of representing the whole global position as a species, when we look back in 1970, we can't see what we could monopolize. We have to see how we as a species could expand and embrace the galaxy. From our little planet, this is our home. And every human being could change the color. So forget the bullshit. We could change the texture of our skin. Because if an octopus could do that, the human's computing power could and would. Today we learn and know all of that thanks to the internet and information that was privy. Now that we are at the point of learning, what we lack the most of all is education. Not just to the masses, but education to the elitists who make the decisions. Because to them, education is virtue is sufficient.